Welcome to another edition of Swim Easy Speed. This is the Pro Camp editions. And today we're going to look at Parker Kerth. Parker is an age grouper. He's qualified for his pro card, but has opted not to take it quite yet. And I think for Parker, it's a really good idea. He's got some work that he needs to do on the swim. And, this is going to give him the opportunity to do that. So again, looking at Parker, we can see, let's get right there. He's pretty good at the top of his part of his body, but you can see kind of that angle right there on the water. That's going to be the biggest thing to fix is, helping to get this more connected here and bring it up, bring his back end up. So then he gets that really, really long, flat kind of position on the water. And where we're going to get that maximum distance per stroke. So we'll get to the underwater. So you can see kind of the left, this is pretty good position right here, where wrist is below elbow, elbow is below the shoulder. That gives him the really good opportunity to set the catch right here and then pull straight back. So if we move it forward a little bit, you can see he starts to set that catch a little bit, but really doesn't start pulling himself forward till right about there. On the right side, you can see position isn't quite as good. We're a little bit more flat like that. So a lot of this is just press, 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 and starts to pull himself forward right about there. And you really want to try to get that, grab that water as soon as possible and pull yourself forward. And then here we get a look at, kind of the back end. So here we are looking at that gap right there. So for Parker, probably somewhere between, 5 to 8 seconds, 100, and then we need to get all of this up a little bit higher, longer on the water. Try to get his toes to point a little bit more. Okay, so, just like everyone else we've looked at so far, we really need to work on kind of that. So if we're looking at just that, here's the midline right there. Well, let me redo it. There's midline right about there. So if you look at Parker here, he comes in right on the midline. And, typically the one thing you want to think about is kind of just inside the shoulder. So it would be kind of right about there. You can take some pressure off your shoulder, still good. Basically outside the shoulder is good. And then right kind of in line with the shoulder is fine. What you don't want to do is just have this momentum kind of going that direction. And you can see, how that manifests down below with his feet. So there's a foot, how they come apart, where we're just creating more drag. And that's all just to stabilize kind of that non-linear movement that he's putting into the stroke. So you can see a little bit right here of, it's not as bad on the left side, but we're still having to stabilize. And then here's that right hip popping out. And, the one thing we want to think about is we're trying to get as narrow as possible. We don't want anything going outside of effectively our body frame. So anytime you see those feet kind of going way wide over there, and then it's not only just in this plane, but then you're thinking about a lot lower than your body frame, because the drag is pretty much three-dimensional around your body. That's where we want to, try and kind of shore everything up, make it a lot more streamlined. And so here, Parker's doing a pretty good job. It's a little bit high right there on the shoulder. So there's the plane. There's his arm, 70 degrees basically. When we go on to this side, let's see, is this any better? Yeah, that's a little bit better. So if there's the plane, here's the arm. It might even be a little bit better than that. So we'll go here to there. Yeah, 55. Probably down maybe get it down another 10 degrees and If he's a little higher on the water and make it a little bit easier. But you can see kind of that rotation right there is part of where that instability is coming from on the recovery. And then you're just giving up, not only are you creating that instability, but then you're giving up a lot of leverage down there as well, underneath the stroke. So here you can see Parker, coming in. Head position looks really good. He's not looking forward, but he's not looking straight down either. Here we've got, let's see if we can get this angle. Man, this looks pretty good. I'd like to see it. We were a little close to the camera on this one, so it's tough to see. And then let's see the opposite side. We're going to have to wait. Okay. All right. So again, you can see right here. Here's this angle. It's pretty open. And here, all that pressure is going right there at the top of the shoulder. And it's making it really difficult to get to those bigger muscles in the back, where you want to coordinate that, the pec, the lat, scapular muscles, core muscles, traps, deltoids, everything together to really get a really great pull in the water. So, if this were the angle right here, we'd like to see it kind of more about like that. So you're going to see this hand moved over a lot, significantly. Elbow about the same. And then if we're looking here, there's kind of midline, so we'd be really just skirting that midline again, getting the maximum amount of leverage on the water. So with Parker, we went back to kind of cleaning up the fundamentals. And, look, this is pretty much the fundamental of where you want to start. And you can actually go back and look. I had over Thanksgiving one of the top kind of 5 U.S. distance swimmers in the United States right now. She was in the endless pool, and I coached her when she was little. And she was, I think she's going into her senior year, or has like a year and a half of eligibility left. And, we were working on the same stuff. Even the fastest swimmers have to sometimes go back to the fundamentals. So there's nothing wrong with it at all. You always want those fundamentals to be really, really strong and solid. And then we can start getting into more of the nitty gritty of the stroke, and where some of the other stuff that is tougher to get at, but where you have to have those fundamentals down pat. So you can see here he's struggling still a little bit to get that right to go out and drive everything straight forward. The one thing, though, that you can see is if you watch his feet. So you can see that because he's driving everything straight forward, the feet aren't coming apart as much. And that's what we want. So here we tried something a little bit different with Parker. I went with the drag sleeves, and I was really trying to make it where he could feel that cross connection in his body. Using the one hip to drive the shoulder, using the other hip to drive the other shoulder, and that cross connection, how it was all connected through the core, and really get some of that core involvement, core engagement. One of the things is with these drag sleeves, so these things, they make it where it's really tough to pull, and it's forcing you to use your entire body to drive that arm through the water. And that's what we were doing. So he got a really good sense of where everything was and how it was feeling, and was able to apply it in the workouts during the week. So we made some pretty good progress. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you have any questions, I am always happy to answer questions. And hope to catch you at the next video.